et, 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 un, et. et 1. 1, 2, 3. Vérification 1, 2, 3. Et. Check. Et 2. Tu vois-tu le niveau? OK. Ouais. Ben, supposé.
Tu peux parler, puis on va voir si le timing est...
1, 2, 3. Bonsoir. Bonsoir. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Et 1. Bonjour. 1, 2, 3. Délai. Vérification du délai. Et 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Vérification du délai.
J'ai mis à peu près 4 secondes de délai. Tu peux mettre les écouteurs, n'oublie pas, on est comme 30 secondes en retard. Avec ça, pour matcher. Regardez mon écran à gauche. Regarde à gauche, mon ordi à gauche. Là. Tu vas voir pour le timing. Là, j'ai mis une délai de 4 millisecondes. Ça devait être bon avec ça. Sinon, on peut ajouter un petit peu plus, mais ça devait être bon, ça.
Avec moi, c'était plus?
Non, ben, j'ai commencé avec 2.
OK.
I'm in the wrong decade.
so.
Oh.
We would have been here earlier, but we got lost. We got lost. We were here like over half an hour early, and then we got lost. But we got here. Yeah. Yeah, well, you know all about that one. Yeah, after that, he had another episode. They named it back in, during COVID time, he was back in hospital for 5 days. So all I could do was kind of throw the backpack at the door and phone him. That was it.
I have mechanical valve. What they have to go in and do is turn off the air.
Okay, I think you should, maybe we start. Take your seats, please.
Judy is left a little message.
I'll grab it. I'll put it in my phone.
Just till Thursday. Whenever you want. We'll talk to you.
I never wanted to interrupt you. Always speaking. After the break.
Okay, I want to thank everybody for coming this afternoon. I appreciate it, and Melly does too. So the format is I'm going to lead off the little tributes, but there'll be like 3 or 4 tributes, then we have a 10 or 15-minute break, get another drink or whatever. Then there'll be a little music, then some more tributes. So probably a couple hours all together or so, I guess. So the majority of the presentations will be in English and 1 or 2 in French. So my friends from Toronto will have an opportunity to listen and practice their French comprehension, I guess, which isn't great, I would have to say, but it may pick up a bit. Then, thanks for everybody online, and I know there's people online from various parts of the country, like Calgary and Quebec and Ottawa and other places, and particularly thank a number of people that actually came from quite a ways away, like Bermuda and Maine and other places, Ottawa and Toronto and whatever sort of thing. So thank you very much for coming and making a special effort. So before I start my little tribute, Melanie's going to just say a few words in French.
Bonjour tout le monde. Je suis contente de voir tous ces visages ici. Je pense que ma mère serait très émue de vous voir tous réunis pour elle. Donc, aujourd'hui, nous souhaitons célébrer ma mère et faire rayonner la femme qu'elle était. La femme, la sœur, la mère, l'amie, la joueuse de tennis, la joueuse de bridge. Donc, voilà, il va y avoir quelques discours aujourd'hui en l'honneur de ma mère. N'hésitez pas à vous promener, à parler, partager des anecdotes, des souvenirs que vous aviez de ma mère. Ça nous fera plaisir aussi. N'hésitez pas à venir nous en parler aussi. Ça me fait du bien d'entendre vos histoires et puis comment ma mère vous a touché de près et de loin. Alors, amusez-vous. J'espère que malgré les circonstances, que ça sera quand même une célébration joyeuse. Alors, merci d'être ici.
Okay, so I do the first tribute. Hopefully I can get through this, actually. So, not used to holding a mic, actually, and holding this, but okay. So, as many of you know, I think I met Francine at the Rideau Tennis Club in 1985. So, from people that aren't from Ottawa, the Rideau Tennis Club is a beautiful tennis club on the Rideau River. It's probably one of the oldest in Ottawa, and Francine met a number of people there over the years, but one person she met there was me. And so a friend, I guess, said that we'd be a good match together. I don't know if he meant tennis or otherwise. So, so Francine was the outgoing francophone from St. Romuald, and I was the more reserved Anglophone from Toronto. So, but despite our differences and different backgrounds and that, we had a lot of similar interests, particularly in sports, and had a number of views that were quite similar, actually. So we got along pretty well. So I was in '85. I'm not going to go every year, but I'll just give you a brief summary here. Then in 1985, it was Meet the Parents, Christmas. So I went down to Francine's house to meet her parents in 1985. Her mother was quite religious. Her father wasn't all that religious, but the mother was. So Francine told me what to expect. Her mother, I guess before she met me, when Francine was young, told her not to play with Protestant kids down the street from her. So I'm not sure what her mother thought of her bringing back this Protestant in the house, not only playing with him, but maybe marrying him. So I'm not sure how well that went over. And the father, I mean, his interest was whether I was a build, whether I was a handyman. Because a couple of Francine's brothers built their houses and had great skills in terms of architect and building and that sort of thing. And I didn't really have any clue in terms of building anything. But I have to say one common thing was I liked playing cards, and they liked playing Charlemagne. So that was something we had in common, I guess. 1986, we visited Expo 86. And Francine has actually spent a fair amount of time. I'm going to discuss it later. Went to Vancouver in her youth to improve her English for several months. So she actually knew Vancouver quite well and had quite a few friends there. 1987, I'm stopping at 1990 here. We got married in St. Romeo. 1988, Melanie was born. Then we bought a house on Kenilworth. So we stay at the same house and still have the same house. Francine left the government around the year 2000 thanks to a government program. And she left actually because she knew she just had Melanie. What else? It allowed her to spend more time in Tremblant. And she played a lot of tennis and winter tennis. Took a lot of trips, went to, because of my work, we had a lot of trips in Canada, so we traveled from like Cape Spear in New Brunswick, which was the most eastern part of Canada, not New Brunswick, Newfoundland, and went to Trifino a couple of times on Vancouver Island, and went to Japan, US, and Europe a few times. Francine, I would say when she left the government and retired, she spent increasing time at Tremblant and made many new friends at Tremblant and enjoyed her sports of tennis and biking and swimming. She was quite actually a swimmer before. When she was working at Laval University, she did a lot of swimming at night. And then I think at University of Ottawa too, she used the pool there quite a bit. So that's a bit of a scenario. Like life was pretty good until a couple of years ago. So just moving on a bit. I have to say one thing about Francine's life, she was quite a continuous learner. She went to Vancouver to improve her English for several months. And in her 20s, when she moved back to East, she started working in the government in Ottawa, and she took a bachelor's degree at University of Ottawa, but she was working, I guess, actually this is before I really knew her mostly, but she was working during the day and taking courses at night, and she'd tell me about she wouldn't go out on weekends or nights because she had the papers to do for their course, that sort of thing. And later she took up tennis at the Rideau, took some lessons there and got quite a good tennis player. And later she took up golf, and she would go over to the Diablo driving range and spend, I don't know, she told me an hour and a half, 2 hours hitting golf balls, and when I go there after about 10 minutes, I get bored and leave, sort of thing. But she could go and just hit balls and balls and balls to improve her tennis or golf. Then she took up bridge and got quite interested in bridge. We used to have the Globe and Mail delivered to our house every day. And first thing, she would go to the bridge section in the Globe and study their, I guess, little quiz they had or their game they had. In recent years, to improve her Spanish, she was into Duolingo, I think it's called, Duolingo, and practiced her Spanish almost daily on that program. So, what time is it, man? Try to go a bit faster. I have to say, though, I would say the things that were important were her family, friends, and living life to the fullest. For the family, she had my sisters and nieces and whatever, and nieces and brother and their sister in Quebec, and all important to her. And then, of course, Melanie, myself. But then friends, she had lots of friends. I guess to me, your friends say a lot about yourself, sort of thing. If you've had a lot of friends and you've had a lot of friends for a long time, and so she had friends that she knew over 60 years, and some more recent friends, but they were all important to her. And I mean, she had friends from Vancouver, friends from her childhood, neighbors, Rito tennis, Tremont tennis, people she worked with, people I worked with, bridge friends. So I don't know. I mean, if you have a lot of friends, actually, it's reflection that people want to spend time with you and obviously enjoy your company, sort of thing, as opposed to, you know, if you don't have any friends, I think it says something else about you, I guess. But she had a lot of friends from various places, and I have to say her friends were very important to her. And the third thing, as I said, family, friends, and living life to the fullest. So she loved all aspects of life. Sports was always a big part of her life. She liked, as I said before, I knew her that well. She was really into swimming. She swam at the Laval University pool, University of Ottawa, and running, walking, biking, hiking. Tennis, and more recently golf. Traveling, she traveled a lot. Before I knew her, she had taken trips to Europe, Greece, and some nice pictures of her in Greece. Good food, good wine, arts. I have some nice paintings at our place. Concerts, we went to some nice concerts together, like Leonard Cohen in Montreal and quite a few others. I used to drag her to see Gordon Lightfoot. And as I said, I have to really drag her to see Gordon Lightfoot, but we went to a lot of other concerts that she wanted to go to too, so I guess that's the deal. Good conversation with friends and reading. So I guess everything was going pretty well until a couple of years ago when she got diagnosed with multiple myeloma, which actually neither of us knew anything about. I never heard about it, and I had brothers died of, or my father and brother died of lymphoma, so I knew lymphoma and knew leukemia, but I never really heard of multiple myeloma, which is another blood cancer. She was unlucky in the sense that she got the disease, and doubly unlucky that she got an aggressive form of the disease. I talked to her doctor some time ago, and the doctor said about 15-20% get aggressive form of the disease, which she had. But she was always optimistic, and when one treatment didn't work, she expected the next treatment would work. So that wasn't the case. But she continued to enjoy life as much as possible. And last summer did a lot of walking, kayaking, swimming, and biking. So I knew it wouldn't be an easy day. That's all I have to say, actually. But the next speaker I have is Paula, I think. And Paula actually met Francine before I met Francine. As I said, I met Francine in '85, and I think Paula probably met her in, I don't know, which one? 83, 84, or something like that. Then the last, I guess, 2 years that Francine was healthy, she took 2 trips with Paula, one to Portugal, and the last one was to Spain. And that's where some of her problems started. She actually texted me and said she was having a sore hip in Spain. So, but Paula's going to come up and say a few words. What's that?
So thanks, Dave, and thanks to you and to Melanie for hosting this very fitting tribute for Francine. Francine and I met in the early 80s at the Rideau Tennis and Squash Club in Ottawa and soon became the best of friends. We were both newcomers to the club. Francine was a very keen, serious, and competitive player. Before long, she was competing with the elite players from the club on centre court, while yours truly cheered her on from the balcony. As Dave said, it was at the club that she was introduced by a mutual friend to Dave, and the rest is history. Francine was outgoing and gregarious. She was a great friend, generous and kind. We shared our ups and downs. Opinions were respected, arguments were few, but always forgotten, and never marred our strong friendship. When I first knew Francine, she lived in this wonderful apartment on Colonel By Drive, beside the Rideau Canal. It had a large, screened-in porch that soon became party central for après tennis, drinks, and good food. During this time, also as Dave said, she was also pursuing her degree in the evenings at the University of Ottawa. We celebrated her graduation on the same screened-in porch. I recall that you, Dave, very keen to impress, brought dessert, and an ice cream cake. Coincidentally, I was having dinner on Friday at the Ritz Canal, which is a restaurant beside the Rideau Canal, and I pointed out to my friend, oh, Francine's apartment was right across the river there, you know, right across the canal. And I said it was a great apartment, and my friend said, didn't she have bats there as well? So then, of course, I remembered a very funny story at Francine's expense, how one night, this is like before she met Dave, of course, living in the apartment, and she woke up during the night by a buzzing sound in the room, turned on the lights, and her bedroom was like, there were bats flying around overhead. So she panicked, got out of bed, phoned the neighbor next door, who was also a friend, Ray, and he was in the building next door now, he wasn't even in the house, told him he better get over here fast because there were bats flying around. She couldn't. He came with a broom, and the two of them chased the bats out of the house. So, as everyone knows, she was a keen skier and was very excited when she and Dave acquired their first condo here in Mont-Temblant. Over the years, she would spend more and more time here, especially once Melanie finished her studies and moved to Montreal. She looked forward to connecting with her friends, her tennis friends and golf friends every summer. In fact, from May to Thanksgiving, rarely would Francine be in Ottawa. If you wanted to see Francine, then you had to come to Tremblant, which of course I was always too happy to do. In recent years, she and I took winter breaks together. We traveled to Cuba, to Portugal, and to Spain. Our trips to Portugal and Spain were most fun and memorable. In Portugal, we explored the Algarve coast from east to west in our rental car. Now, Francine was not a shopper, but we must have checked out every store selling natural Cork products for a backpack for Melanie. And anyone who's been to Portugal will know that stores selling Cork products are ubiquitous. Francine had specific instructions relating to the size of the backpack. It had to be able to accommodate Melanie's laptop. We measured and measured till eventually she found the right one. I hope it was the right one, Melanie. Nerja, Spain in February 2020 was sadly our last winter trip together. And while Francine was at times not her energetic self, we still had lots of fun. We met up with a group from Ottawa, including some Newfoundlanders who loved to party. They had rented a large, ultra-modern house close to where we were staying, and we enjoyed a few good parties at their place. Francine was always up for joining in a lively discussion or debate. She endured on and off back pain during that trip, but it never prevented her having a good time. Needless to say, the Spanish red wine went down very well. At €4 a bottle, it was hard to resist. Finally, over the years, Francine enjoyed regular trips to Florida with Dave and playing golf with her sister Sylvie and brother-in-law Pierre. On a few occasions, I joined them for a week's break from the Ottawa winter. In Palm Beach, Dave treated us to cocktails at the seafood bar, the ritzy Breakers Hotel. While conversely, on an obscure street in West Palm Beach, we came upon a restaurant that had a sign saying early bird specials, hamburgers for $1. Well, we just sat down, ordered drinks, and decided we'd have to try these hamburgers. And we were surprised how good those hamburgers tasted. I think that long after I was back in Ottawa, she and Dave, along with Sylvie and Pierre, returned for those early bird specials. These and other memories of Francine will forever hold a place in my heart. Rest in peace, my dear friend. I miss you terribly. And in closing, to quote from an old Irish blessing, until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Thank you.
Okay, I think Deanne's going to come up and say a few words in French. So, get your friend. I have to say, I guess I think Deanne is Francine's walking partner. Deanne may not be tall, but she's a walker. She will walk up the hill and back, and that will only be the start of her walk. So, Francine, I remember 2 or 3 years ago, she would go, and if she wasn't in the condo, I usually knew she was out walking with Deanne. They would go up by the, people don't know where, over there where Mary Lemieux has his house, and walk over there, then down towards the lake, and I think it was about a 2-hour walk or 2.5-hour walk, and as I said, that's probably a moderate walk for Deanne, but for Francine it was a pretty long walk. And last year, summer, where Francine couldn't walk that much, she walked, I guess, 4 or 5 golf holes over at the Giant with Deanne for a good part of the summer, sort of thing. So that was just a little bit of a warm-up for Deanne. But Francine actually, I think, first met Deanne. A friend had I think he met her at Lynn and Guy's party, je pense, or the plage. Je ne sais pas, mais c'est longtemps. Mais je peux passer le microphone à Deanne. Elle va parler en français.
Merci. Bonjour. Il est en train de voler mon texte, là. Donc, Francine a touché la vie de bien des gens, de toutes sortes de belles façons. Bon, je ne serai pas capable. Elle a sincèrement touché la mienne grâce à une amitié unique qui a débuté il y a environ 25 ans à la plage du Mont-Temblant. Je pense que c'est Lynn, justement, qui nous avait présenté. Dès notre première rencontre, j'ai remarqué sa grande simplicité, sa joie de vivre, sa bonne humeur était contagieuse, dynamique, pince sans rire. On ne s'ennuyait jamais en sa présence. Francine était très sportive et remplie d'énergie, toujours prête pour une activité, quelle que soit la saison. En ski, à vélo, au tennis, en randonnée, à la plage ou simplement en sirotant une tasse de thé, nos conversations étaient toujours très agréables et animées. Intelligente, très cultivée, les sujets ne manquaient pas. Elle pouvait me relater les derniers bouquins qu'elle venait de terminer, parler d'histoire, de voyage, de politique, de stratégie de tennis. Ça, j'appréciais beaucoup, pour en nommer que quelques-uns. Et j'apprenais toujours quelque chose en jasant avec Francine. Elle avait comme beaucoup voyagé et tout ça. Au cours de toutes ces années, nous avons traversé ensemble différentes étapes de notre vie, quelle que soit la situation que nous vivions. J'appréciais toujours sa perspective et ses bons conseils. Nous avons développé au fil des ans une belle complicité. J'admirais ses valeurs. Sa famille, ses amis étaient ce qui comptait le plus dans sa vie. Excusez. Elle sera toujours pour moi un modèle de courage et de détermination. Sa force de caractère était exceptionnelle. Durant les moments les plus difficiles, angoissants de sa vie, elle ne perdait jamais espoir et continuait de se battre contre cette terrible maladie. Lors de nos promenades des derniers mois sur le golfe Le Géant, sa bonne humeur était toujours au rendez-vous malgré tout. Il y aura toujours un endroit, une activité, un événement qui me rappellera tous les bons souvenirs du temps passé en sa présence. Excusez, ça ne sera jamais plus pareil.
Merci. I think we have a short video. Then we're going to take a few-minute break. I'm not sure. We have 3 videos. I'm not sure which one's coming here. One's Janine and one's Fanny.
Bonjour. Chère Mélanie, David, toute la famille de Francine ainsi que tous ses amis. Ça me fait plaisir de faire un témoignage en son honneur pour rendre plus concret tout le bonheur qu'elle nous a apporté. Ma première rencontre avec Francine remonte à plus de 25 ans. Nous nous sommes connus sur les terrains de tennis du club Beach Tennis ici à Tremblant. Francine était une excellente joueuse de tennis. Ses atouts n'étaient pas la puissance, mais elle était très stratégique, rusée et excessivement habile pour placer la balle là où on n'était pas. Elle avait alors un petit sourire en coin de satisfaction qui voulait dire « Je t'ai bien eu, hein ?» C'était une adversaire redoutable, mais tellement agréable. Malgré les différentes blessures et chirurgies qu'elle a dû subir tout au long de sa carrière de tennis et les nombreuses périodes de réadaptation qui s'ensuivaient, elle nous revenait toujours sans avoir perdu ses formidables habiletés, même si à chaque reprise, elle doutait de ses capacités. Elle était très humble. Les compliments qu'on lui faisait, elle avait souvent de la difficulté à les accepter du premier coup. Elle avait beaucoup de jasettes. On pouvait discuter de tout et de rien avec elle. Elle était toujours enjouée et rayonnante quand on parlait de sa famille, de tennis, de nos amis. Elle pouvait presque toujours nous donner des nouvelles de l'une ou de l'autre, avec beaucoup de respect. Francine était un bout en train. Pleine de vie et d'énergie, elle avait toujours le petit mot pour nous faire rire. Régulièrement, elle prenait son vélo pour venir au club de tennis, pour pouvoir laisser la voiture à David, mais aussi pour entretenir la force de ses jambes. Elle m'impressionnait beaucoup, car après avoir joué 2 heures et plus de tennis, assez intense quand même, elle repartait chez elle sur ses 2 roues. Et on sait qu'elle avait de bonnes côtes à grimper pour rentrer à la maison. Déterminée, notre Francine. Nous partagions la même passion pour la lecture. En fait, j'ai découvert ça quand ses activités devinrent restreintes, étant donné qu'elle n'avait pas le droit de se déplacer à cause de sa jambe et de son dos. On a alors discuté de ce qu'elle pouvait et aimait faire dans les circonstances, et la lecture a été son premier choix. Donc, je suis devenue, en fait, sa bibliothécaire. Nous avions un peu les mêmes goûts. On comparait notre critique une fois le livre terminé. J'ai senti que ça lui changeait les idées et qu'elle en tirait un peu de bonheur. C'était définitivement ça, le but. J'ai maintenant le réflexe de penser que Francine aurait apprécié certains des livres que j'ai lus récemment. Ma belle Francine, tu mérites pleinement cet hommage que tout le monde te fait aujourd'hui. Tu as été un vrai rayon de soleil dans nos vies. Merci.
Okay, so the plan is to take about 15-minute break now. Then we have 3 or 4 other speakers. Then at the end of that, if anybody else wants to say a few words, I guess I'll call it open mic activity. So get another drink and a little music for about 15 minutes, and we'll start with the other speeches. Okay, thanks. What's that? No, is that? Oh, okay. Okay, the next speaker we have is George Pickering. I'm very pleased that George was able to make it. George has a real tough life, spending most of his life now in Bermuda. He once in a while he also has a cottage in outside of Ottawa, but I guess his permanent base is Bermuda. And Francine actually met George, and unfortunately George 5 years ago lost his wife to ALS, but his wife was Helen, and Helen and Francine were very close, as with George. George actually and Helen met Francine before I met her, and did a fair amount of hiking and various activities. And George, I guess George hosted a party for Francine, I think, around our engagement. You remember that, George? On the backyard at your place on in the glebe there. So I appreciate that. That was very nice of you. And I guess that was about 1988 or something like that, or no, 86 or something. But and Francine, as I said, she had a lot of friends, and she had a lot of friends before she knew me. So there was a lot of people at that party that I didn't know. But so George and, as I said, Francine was very close with George, and I remember her telling George's parents had a cottage on Mississippi Lake, and Francine used to go there and tell me all the stories, the fun she had there. Then George was a bit of a world travel after he left Ottawa. He worked in Washington, D.C., and Switzerland and Dubai. And you were in Hong Kong, too, for a while, weren't you? So he's been around a bit. So he's going to, but we always kept in contact with him, and he was always a close friend of Francine and mine. So I'm very pleased he was able to come and say a few words.
Merci Dave et bon après-midi tout le monde. Je vais pratiquer quelques remarques en français, but I think I'll practice my English this afternoon if you don't mind. It is a real honor to be invited to speak at Francine's memorial today. As Dave has mentioned, my wife was very, very close to Hélène. Excuse me, my wife Hélène was very, very close to Francine. And I'd like to think that some of her remarks would be reflected in what I want to say today. If I can pick one word for Francine, I would say she was unforgettable, inoubliable. From the first time we met her, my wife and I think it was somewhere in the late 70s, 1977, 78. She was part of a group of very engaging, friendly, fun-loving people. And I really retain, as I thought of our friendship, three remarkable features about her. Firstly, I think it was her kindness and tenderness through our relationship. She was always attentive to me, Hélène, our family, our children, my parents. Dave's mentioned she was up at their cottage many, many times. But the way that she could engage with people, to just sort of so sincerely ask how you're doing, remembered what we had done. As Dave's mentioned, we weren't always in Ottawa, but every chance we were back in Ottawa, we would try to get together with them, and she was sort of unstoppable in terms of her gentle style. The second thing I remember about her, of course, is her laughter and her sense of humor. I think Deanne has already said this. Her humor was contagious. I guess we can use that word now in a friendly way, but there are good things that are contagious, and certainly her humor was contagious. There's a story that I think typifies of the hundreds of stories that I think we all know. Dave mentioned that at one stage, Francine went to Europe. This is BD, but before Dave, probably in the mid-70s. And there was a tour, an organized tour on a bus traveling around Europe. And at one point, she went to the back of the bus, leaned against the back door opened, she fell out. She wasn't very seriously injured, but she was badly injured. She broke, I think, a collar, several bones, an ankle. They were in Italy, the tour continued, they left her, abandoned her for a week in Italy. Nobody spoke English. And I love this story, and I asked Francine, I think at least 3 or 4 times, to repeat it at sort of any social gathering. Now, there's nothing funny about that story. You know, a seriously injured person abandoned in Europe. But it was the way that Francine would tell that story. I'm trying to mimic the way she would sort of like put her hand on her cheek. In fact, she would start to laugh in telling the story, and of course everybody would start laughing. And there was, you know, even her illness, she could find a way to talk about her illness in a way that wasn't anything except looking on the positive side. And I think it was such a beautiful characteristic. These stories were always rapidly delivered in both official languages, and as I like to say, at the same time. So it was really, she was infectious, her laughter. Thirdly, I think she was such a devoted friend and family member. We've talked a lot about her friends, but I think, Dave, when she met you, she had a peace with her life that she didn't have before, and elle était comblée par le mariage. Sorry. Sorry. They were a great couple together, and we got to know them as a couple and really enjoyed that. And of course, the joy that Francine had when Melanie was born was infectious. Melanie knows my children who send their love to you now. And it was such a beautiful part of her life to see, and of course, she will be her legacy of friendship and family lives with the two of you. So I think I speak on behalf of all of us when I wish you, Dave and Melanie, good luck with the months and years ahead. We share your grief, but we hope you'll find much happiness to carry with you. She was really a wonderful woman. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, George, and as I said, thanks for coming. I know it's really appreciated. And now we're going to have Rosanna say a few words. We've known Rosanna, Raymond and Stephanie, and we met. I guess our second or third year here at I'm not sure it was Lynn Gee's party, or well, I think it was Lynn Gee's party in their penthouse there, and we spent a lot of time together over the years. Melanie and Stephanie at the beach, and Robert over there, the bartender, was the guy that kept tabs on them. Raymond gave him a special plaque for keeping tabs on the daughters at the beach over the years, sort of thing. I don't know where that plaque is, but it was well deserved. So Rosanna's going to say a few words.
I'll speak in English as well. I would like to begin by thanking Dave and Melanie for hosting the celebration of life today. Because of the circumstances, it was difficult not being able to mourn her when we normally do. So I'm very comforted today to meet Francine's family her friends, and to have this opportunity to finally honor her. I'll say a few funny stories. Our family, as Dave said, we met Francine, Dave, Melanie, and Dusty, their Yorkshire Terrier, in Tremblant about 25 years ago, again at Lynn Lapierre's house. Funny story about Dusty. Francine calls me one night, one afternoon, and she's hysterical, and she says, Dusty a tombé dans le précipice. On n'a pu trouver Dusty. And so we all headed out. Raymond by car, Stephanie and I on foot. Melanie was also frantically looking for Dusty. And we went up and down the Domaine de la Forêt, going up and down the streets and calling for Dusty. And Dusty couldn't be found. And we said, oh my God. Anyhow, eventually we had almost given up and Dusty just came back home on his own. Nobody found him. So Dusty held a very, very special place in Francine, and Dave, and Melanie's heart. Anyhow, Francine and I quickly realized that we shared many, many common values and interests. Our mutual love of family was by far a priority for both of us. At that time, we were both younger mothers and focused on ensuring that our children received solid educations and that they would experience the joys of the good life in Tremblant, both in the winter and in summer. Francine was a devoted wife and a mother who taught by example. She loved the outdoors, and she was an avid skier. Now I'm repeating myself. It's unfair to speak after all these wonderful people have given their speeches. But she loved the outdoors, and she was an avid skier, a very competitive and excellent tennis player, and in later years, an enthusiastic golfer. She and I had the pleasure to team up at the annual breast cancer tournament here in Mont-Temblant because I'm a survivor and she wanted to encourage me. Francine's energy was infectious. Over the years, we enjoyed numerous outings, hiking the trails of the mountain, cycling to La Belle and stopping off on the hammock along the way at de Bellefeuille, kayaking to the waterfalls on the Rivière Cachée on Lac Tremblant. These are just a few of the numerous activities that come to mind. But now a little funny activity that we did. The girls were in their mid-teens, and of course, the local watering hole is Le Petit Caribou. So one day, the girls wanted to go. Francine and I agreed to accompany them, and we had to because they wouldn't have gotten through the front door. The bouncer wouldn't have allowed them in without us. Yeah. So after a day of being on the beach and playing tennis, we were exhausted, and then we learned that the Caribou only opened at midnight after we had accepted to accompany them. So Francine and I made a pact. We gave the girls dinner, and then we said, we're going to go to bed, and we're going to sleep till 11, and put our alarm clocks on, because we may not wake up, and we ended up having to get dressed and accompany the girls to the Caribou. Your mother loved you. No mothers do that if they don't love their girls. Finally, Francine had a thirst for travel and to learn about different cultures and different lifestyles. She often spoke to me about Paula, and we met here frequently in Tremblant. But she often spoke about your travels. She filled our dinner conversations with wonderful tales of her adventures in Belgium to go and see Melanie, in China when she was there with another group, and Portugal and Spain with Paula. Oops. Francine was a dear friend. and I will always cherish the gift of our relationship. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Roseanne. Very nice. I guess the final one I have, we have a couple other videos later, but it's Jean Caldwell. Jean, Max and Jean, we've known since I actually came to Ottawa. I was working in Toronto, and Max actually hired me for a job in Ottawa. So if it wasn't for Max, I guess Francine and I would have never maybe met. So then we got quite friendly with Max and Jean over the years, and I think when I first started dating Francine, Jean had Francine and I were over for supper, and we went a few trips together to New York City, and fairly recently, about 4 years ago, we went to Vancouver and took a trip around BC and Tofino, Victoria, and Okanagan Valley and Whistler and that sort of thing. So that was only 4 years ago and quite a memorable trip for us. And I guess it was returning to Tofino for Francine and I, because we were there in '86 and maybe one other time since that. So Jean's going to say a few words, and we have a couple of short videos.
Thanks, Dave. Thank you, Dave. It's indeed an honor and a pleasure to be asked to talk about Francine today. I still find it hard to believe she's not here amongst all of us, our friends and family. She should be here. As Dave said, Francine was introduced to Max and me early in their courtship when Dave brought Francine to dinner at our farm. Dave and Max were close colleagues at Agriculture Canada, and they played racquetball together. Then along came the second love of her life, her daughter Melanie, whom she nurtured and encouraged her in all her endeavors. Melanie, you know your maman was so proud of the strong young woman you have become. During the last, I guess it's 30 plus years, we enjoyed Francine's friendship in many different ways. Her prowess as a cook and hostess are renowned. So it was always a case of one-up-womanship, trying to prepare special meals when we shared a meal with her at our home. Her delight enjoying a really good red wine was something to behold. And she introduced me to the pleasure of cassis. I remember when Keith and our son and daughter, Keith and Gillian, as young children, were invited to her home on Echo Drive, and they still remember the healthy eating habits that Francine had when she introduced them to green fettuccine. Francine and Dave were so generous in sharing their St. Bernard and then their Mont-Temblant condos with us right from the start. And we had so many enjoyable bike rides and hikes with them. Max and I were officially the off-season visitors, as we were not downhill skiers. We also stayed several times with them in Florida and took trips to New York. Remember the bunk beds, Dave? And BC together more recently. I can tell you more about her illegal stay in a Vancouver Airbnb condo if you want to be warned about the strata system in Vancouver before you go. Francine's bridge skills were much superior to ours. Yet we had lots of fun playing in person with Dave and Francine and online in COVID times. I don't know if any of you are aware, but Francine's habit of tapping her fingernails when considering her bid always amused us, especially when it came through FaceTime. The strong, loyal woman who was so mindful of eating healthily and who participated wholeheartedly in her sports of tennis, biking, walking, swimming, skiing, golf, was supposed to live for another 20 years. Instead of being taken so cruelly from us by this deadly disease. I think you'll agree we're all enriched by the few precious years we spent with Francine. Dave, Melanie, Sylvie, Denis, Pierre, Claudia, Veronique, and all Dave's family, may your memories of Francine always comfort you as they do us, her friends. Thank you.
Okay, we have a couple of videos. One is from Fanny, which was a friend of Melanie's from grade 3. And a friend of mine sent me a video. I don't know where he got it from, but it was a friend I've known since primary school. So there's 2 videos that will be shown now.
Bonjour tout le monde. On est navré de ne pas être à la célébration de vie de Francine. Nous avons fait la moitié du chemin de Toronto et réalisé que j'avais attrapé la COVID-19. Et donc, on s'était dit que c'était mieux de rester isolé de tout le monde. Donc, je m'appelle Fanny et j'ai connu Francine depuis que j'avais 8 ans, lorsque on a déménagé à Ottawa. Ma mère avait tout juste de trouver un travail dans un centre de recherche après son doctorat. Et puis moi, je viens de commencer à l'école de Mélanie qui s'appelle Charlotte Lemieux. Je ne me rappelle pas exactement de quand Mélanie et moi sommes devenus des amis, mais peut-être que notre amitié aurait tourné différemment si ce n'était pas pour la générosité de Francine, qui nous recueillait de l'école et qui nous donnait un lieu où on pouvait s'amuser. Depuis ce temps, la présence de Francine était toujours là en grandissant. J'ai toujours considéré la résidence Boucher Culver comme une deuxième maison et Francine ma deuxième mère. Lorsqu'on terminait l'école et que ma mère n'était pas encore entrée, je passais mon temps chez eux où Francine nous faisait des collations, des gâteaux et très souvent m'invitait à rester pour dîner. C'était toujours des mets très délicieuses, provenant directement de l'édition la plus récente de Châtelaine ou d'une recette familiale. Et donc, je me gâtais beaucoup des mets canadiennes, québécoises, très différents de chez nous. Quand ma mère est partie en voyage de travail, Francine m'adoptait et m'invitait à vivre chez eux. Francine avait toujours le cœur jeune. Quand elle était venue à un concert de gospel tenu par ma chorale, nous sommes allés au bar après et elle s'est épatée avec tous nos amis. À travers les années, Francine était une source constante de joie de vivre, de bonne humeur et une inspiration pour moi. Femme indépendante, mère de famille qui menait une vie pleine, entourée de sa famille, des amis et des activités amusantes. Je suis triste qu'elle est partie de ce monde physique si tôt, mais je me réconforte qu'elle est maintenant dans un monde sans limitation et sans souffrance, en train de faire des randonnées, de voyager, de jouer au tennis et d'observer les oiseaux. Mélanie, Dave et Francine feront toujours partie de ma famille et un jour, quand on verra grandir la prochaine génération, j'espère pouvoir être aussi chaleureuse et aimante que Francine était envers moi. Gros bisous Francine et je pense très fort à toi.
Everybody nice, bye bye. Hi Shelley. Everybody nice, bye bye. Hi Shelley. Hi Uncle David.
Thanksgiving.
Thank you for your beautiful dishes, umbrella too, or whatever.
Belfast said no was a present.
I made a mistake. Huh?
Are you smiling, Millie?
Yes, Nikki's there. You want your, oh my God, this little bunny too. He's part of the family now. We have to love him too.
Here, wave. Oh, don't.
Bye, Uncle Dave.
Hey, Granny.
You guys on enough?
You're coming down to Ottawa to see me. I have a nice, nice crib.
From her face there, but yeah. Look at that picture there, Millie.
You fly. Bye. It's what I'm gonna say. Well, we're gonna have a new husband maybe the next time. We're gonna have a movie.
Oh, it seems, well, 3 months old tomorrow.
Yes, it's
Today is
October the
10th, 1988. So Melanie would be 3 months tomorrow.
Tomorrow. It's gonna be a big
Big
girl.
birthday.
Yes, Uncle Dave. If you come to our place, I'm gonna have a big meal, and you're gonna see my dishes. How pretty it is. Yeah.
Okay.
So here's another one.
Yeah, smile.
Smile, Brandy. Smile.
Is there one of these crazy people there?
C'est la plus belle fille en ville. Oui, c'est la belle fille à maman, ça.
Brandy, what's she saying, eh? What's she saying?
Oui, c'est la plus belle fille.
Yeah, what's she saying? What's she saying? Yeah, you have no idea, do you?
Oui, je le sais. Oui, c'est la plus belle fille.
Oops. Hey, you just dropped a teddy down.
She's looking at you now, huh?
Okay, for a little amusement. So, does anybody else want to say anything? We have a few extra minutes if somebody wants to say anything. Feel free. Otherwise, we have a toast to Francine, I guess. And last open mic. You got your hand up, Dave? Dave's going to say a few words. Dave and Kath were neighbors for, I don't know, 20 years or so, over 25 years. And Kath, we shared a lot of fun times together. Kath was pretty involved in the Rotary Club for a number of years and had some fun with the Rotary people. And Dave actually, Melanie did they call it Back International program. And I think Dave was Melanie's, you call him counselor or advisor or whatever. So that was greatly appreciated. And now now they live in Maine. Made a special trip up from Maine to come to this event. So Dave and Kath met at a stats conference in San Francisco. Kath's from Ottawa and Dave was from Maine. So they moved back to Maine. So Dave's going to say a few words.
Thank you. I'll speak in English. I hope you'll forgive me. But actually that forms a foundation. A couple of memories of Francine go back to when we first met. And I have to say, Francine struck me as a force of nature when we first met. Just because I didn't speak any French, I knew no French whatsoever, and she and Dusty were close friends. But Dusty, nevertheless, was probably the only living thing that stood up to Francine's adamant demands. I just remember Dusty would get out of the house and go, this was just after we moved across the street from them, and there were two events. One was that this was more than once, Dusty would get out of the house and sit in the front yard, I think just for the fun of it. And Francine would stand on the front porch and have a vocabulary I did not understand whatsoever. I don't think Dusty cared, and I didn't understand. If I'd understood, I probably would have come and sat down in front of her. But eventually I understood the word ici. Ici, Dusty, ici. That was my first French word that I truly come to understand. The other, and this is sort of the way our friendship with Francine began, was that she informed us, we bought a house directly across the street. The same family had lived there for 68 years and generally ignored it, I think. And the garage was on its just the last threadbare piece of wood. And Francine was so happy with us because we repaired the garage. She informed us that she was going to back into it one day and knock it down if somebody didn't fix the damn thing. So we started off on very good footing between us repairing the garage as well as the house, and then also paying attention to Dusty. But it's interesting, I have to say, that you live across from someone for 25 years, and we didn't play tennis, we didn't go skiing. Well, no, we did go skiing a couple of times. But even then, the experiences you share living across the street for 25 years, ranging from drug addicts living next door, yes, even in Ottawa. Yeah. And he was a dentist, yes. But we solved that puzzle. We did. We solved it. We all got together and we resolved that issue. But over 25 years of just shared dinners and Dusty refusing commands and indeed sponsoring Melanie through what was it called? Counseling you through IBE. You know, here was an American Anglophone counseling a French Canadian through her baccalaureate on the research question of whether the FLQ were terrorists or not. I was terrified. Nevertheless, I became very fond. I know Catherine and I both became very fond of Francine over the years. She was just a person we knew her every day. We saw her, and just shared life, and it was a wonderful experience. Catherine wished, because she knew I would stand up here and just ad-lib, but the point about Francine was her infectious laugh, her generous heart, and warm welcome to the neighborhood in spite of threatening to tear our garage down. A warm welcome will be dearly missed by Catherine and I. We do. Well, I'm sure it sounds like from everyone here will miss her. Catherine was good enough to do a quick poll of neighbors that we knew of the 25 years we lived there. And I'm not going to read the names because there's just too many, but there are at least, and then we hosted Rotary exchange students. And so during those 25 years, we had at least, I think, 8 exchange students, all of whom remembered Francine, Melanie, and David. And they made them very much a part of the neighborhood. But all the neighbors and the exchange students just sent their best and sent their sincerest condolences about Francine's passing. Thank you.
Anybody else want to put their hand up, or we can last call? Okay, thank you very much for everybody to come, and I know there's a number of people online, so thanks for participating online for those that couldn't be here. And Melanie and I really appreciate everybody coming. It's great to see old and new faces and people we've known over the years, and a lot of people we've known a long time, and it really, I guess, shows how people love Francine. And I don't know if you want to say anything. No, Molly doesn't want to say anything. So we're hanging around here a bit if you want another drink, and we can talk a bit more. And I know some of you have to go places back to Ottawa or Montreal, or hopefully some people from Maine can stay here for the night. But we appreciate you coming, and thank you very, very much. We really appreciate your attendance here today. And maybe one last toast to Francine. Toast to Francine. Santé. A toast. I just have a microphone. Okay, merci beaucoup. And we'll see you sometime in the future. Okay, thanks.
Oui,
for 30 years or something, 40 years. Teacher Valley Big Films. And so family and Lucy, our community been here. Lucy, Professor Otto,
Martial.
Bonjour. Nice to meet you.
You did a great speech.
It
I was
hard.
watching you live.
Yeah.
Very emotional, actually.
Did you meet my sister, Fabrice?
Hi.
When do you go back to work? Max. Hi. Yes, that's fortunate. When we both had different Oh yeah, it works really well. Right beside the real trail, which is why I'm used to it, so I can write there. I do love where we go. Thanks.